What's going on, everyone? Thank you for checking out another SGN video where it's all sim all the time. And guys, you want my Madden 23 beta impressions and feedback, and I'm here to give it to you. You guys know with me and how I create content with Madden, sliders, franchise related, that, you know, I'm going to keep it real with you guys on everything. And so what we're going to do is talk about gameplay only, because that's all that's been released for the beta. We don't have the franchise update yet. That should be coming on the 16th. So what I'll do is I'll release a separate video with my feedback on that once that's been released and I've spent an adequate amount of time in that. So for now, we're just going to talk about gameplay, because I have played a whole lot of it. Haven't played any head-to-head because you guys know me, I don't care. I have played default pro, default all pro, default all Madden, and been doing this just to see the differences between. I do this every year. Do this to see the differences between each difficulty and what changes when you go from pro to all pro to all Madden. See what the positives in the changes are and what the negatives are from going from either up to one or down to one, and so on. And so I actually have a list here on my phone, and I want to go through my impressions for you guys, and we're going to start off with the good. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is based off the beta. We know that things can change significantly from the beta to what we actually get in August. This happened to us a couple years ago. I believe it was Madden 19. It might have been 18. One of those two. The beta had pass rush. It wasn't quite to this level, but it was a breath of fresh air for franchise guys like myself, and hopefully you guys watching this. And the online community was like, what the hell? I don't have 10 seconds to sit in the pocket and find a receiver to throw to? You mean I have to actually read the defense and scheme and figure out who's going to be open and make reads and see who's blitzing and get rid of the ball in 3 seconds or less like they do in real life? And guess what happened? The feedback forum got spammed with the pass rush, and when the game released, the pass rush that I had fallen in love with in the beta was gone. So hopefully it doesn't happen this year. You know, we got a lot of people that are very positive with the pass rush. We have people that are complaining and whining like they always do. To that I say, if worst case EA, if you tweak it for the comp side only. Don't do it for franchise mode, simulation mode, because for people who play franchise, if they don't like how the pass rush is, there's a slider for it. So anyway, pass rush is phenomenal. It's very realistic. I will say it's on pro. The user pass rush is very good. The CPU's a little bit underwhelming. Like, they need a little bit of a bump. On all pro, I felt it was a little bit of the opposite. I felt the CPUs was a little bit better than the users. On all Madden, the CPU pass rush is it's honestly phenomenal. The pass rush from the CPU on all Madden is what it should be like. I mean, ideally on all pro and on pro. Of course, it's not going to be because of difficulty. My problem is that the pressure the CPU was getting with 4 and 5 man fronts on all Madden, I could not replicate myself on all Madden. They had O-line of Hall of Famers every single team I played, so I felt like that was an issue on all Madden. But the pass rush, it's fantastic. Let's not touch it. Let's leave it alone, other than the bugs that they've already addressed as far as super win on edge rushers and stuff like that. But pass rush is really good on pro, all pro. And you can definitely, the sliders, you can tweak it just a little bit to get a little bit more of the balance there, but it's really good. Pass coverage is another thing that's really good. Even on pro difficulty, again, the CPU does need a little bit of a bump on pro, but that's by design. All pro, it's very, very, very good for both. In fact, I don't think that if you were to create an all pro slider set, that you'd need to even touch the sliders for the pass coverage on all pro. I think it's very, very balanced. When you get to all Madden, what I started noticing, and guys, I'm going to be honest with you, I would run a play every pass play, I shouldn't say, I didn't do this on running plays. Every pass play, because of all the new elements they introduced, I went an instant replay after. And I just broke it down. And one thing that was very clear to me was that on all Madden, you got way more of what we used to call years ago the psychic DBs, where the defenders would run your route for you. And I would go into instant replay on all Madden, and the CPU corners, again, I'm not talking like Stephon Gilmore, Jair Alexander, Jalen Ramsey corners. I'm talking just your average corners would break and cut before my wide receivers. This was consistently observed. And I just was like, it's an all Madden thing because this was not there on All Pro or Pro. All Pro, it's very, very good. I will say this though. On Pro difficulty, I feel like the read and react system is more organic and natural than on Pro. I feel like on All Pro. I think on All Pro it's a little juiced a little bit. I feel like just going in instant replay, the read of you can watch these players drop back in their zone or man coverage, and you could see the head tracking, and you could see them just read the play and then react naturally. On All Pro, I felt like it was a little bit too I don't want to say the word predetermined, but it happened a little too soon. Like they made their movements a little too soon than what felt natural. And so I feel like Pro, although the read and react is what I feel like the most organic, the coverage overall needs a bump. You know what I mean? I felt like the read and react system was the best on Pro. But the pass coverage is phenomenal. I definitely throw a lot of interceptions, and you will too. It's just getting used to like these teams playing defense the way they should have been for years, and playing NFL defense and having things correctly. So it's a breath of fresh air. And I hope they don't touch it in a negative way. The next thing is a new passing mechanic. Is phenomenal. It's better than I could have hoped. It's really fun. You'll enjoy it. And the fact that they give you so many different ways to use it, like the fact that they finally pulled a page out of 2K and were like, hey, we're going to introduce this new feature, but we're not going to shove it down your throat. If you don't want to use it, you can turn it off. If you want to use part of it, you can. Like, thank you, EA, because you bringing a fantastic feature in that not everyone might want to like or try, and you gave them options. And that's what matters for these games, is give people options of how they can play the game. So you kind of did a 2K thing here, which is fantastic. You can play with the new meter. You don't have to. You can have the meter on. You can have it off. You can aim by simply targeting, just accuracy, target and accuracy. Like, you have a full customization of it, and it definitely takes time to learn and get used to, but once you do, I have made some of the most amazing throws I've ever made in Madden, and it's just great, man. Like, I wish I could upload clips for you guys of some of the throws that I've been able to make and the trajectories that they've redone. Phenomenal. So the passing mechanic is really, really good. Can't wait to also get like a practice mode for it too, so you can really go in and fine tune it, which of course will be in the full game. Movement feels really, really good. Running the ball, the wide receiver DB interactions, just overall movement. They've added a bunch of things and it feels really, really good. I will say that the new 360 mechanic is very welcomed, and I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on movement, but it definitely is more realistic. It's another step in the right direction. Love the movement. Tackling, the new tackling, you definitely notice it. And it's not something that you notice the first 2 or 3 games and like years past, the back of the box feature, you notice it for a couple games, and all of a sudden you start forgetting that it's even there. This is something that, again, I've played a lot of games, a lot of this beta, and every game I'm seeing something new. Every game I'm like, oh, that's a really new, that's something I've never seen before in Madden because of this new tackling system. And so it is a breath of fresh air, and I don't think it's going to be something that grows stale on me the more I play it throughout the year with franchise mode. Next, see the play call suggestions. So, as you guys know, I like to I obviously call my own plays, but I like to follow a game plan. I'll typically create my own playbook and like rate the plays, and I like to just go with what I personally suggest to myself based on how I rated things. But the problem is that in years past, you create a playbook and they start suggesting the same plays over and over and over again. Even though you got 400 or 500 plays in a playbook and they're all rated, you'll get the same 10 to 15. This year, I've been seeing a lot more variety. Now, you're still going to get some of the same play calls repeatedly suggested to you over and over and over again, but they're only like 2 or 3, and then you're still getting a lot of new plays mixed in there. The play call suggestions in the final 2 minutes, final 4 minutes, these different scenarios have also been improved. You're not getting the same play just repeated all the way across for the whole scenario. So play call suggestions for the user definitely improved. Another small one, I guess, and you might not notice this if you've never played on pro difficulty before. Like, of course, my sliders are built on pro. The CPU field goal kicking. So one of the things that was really hard about playing on pro and having to be competitive was the CPU could not make field goals that were like 45, 50 yards. They'd miss everything. And so they leave a lot of points on the board that they should have scored, and it almost made it harder to lose because of it. And nerfing, bumping up the power and bumping up the accuracy didn't really do much to help it. But they have massively improved field goal kicking as far as trajectories, power, and the CPU actually makes kicks now at a realistic rate, even on pro difficulty. So playing on pro this year with special teams isn't going to be horrible. It's going to be pretty dang good. Okay, so now that we got the good from the gameplay out of the from the beta out of the way, let's go. I'm not gonna call this bad. I'm gonna say they're not so good because I know that they're still working. They're still tuning the game. This is an older build than what they're even at now. And my guys Smitty and Hollywood and Sim Football Critic just had an amazing interview with Clint Oldenburg. And he talked about some of these things as well. But I'm gonna bring them up to you just because these are my impressions of the gameplay. So the first thing is the CPU quarterback play. You guys know I've been clamoring about this for a while. I've been making videos for the last couple years on how to fix the CPU quarterback play in Madden so that they would scramble. The problem is the archetype system and the CPU quarterbacks they blindly do what the archetype system says. So if they're strong arm, they're taking deep shots. If they're field general, they're just shredding you. If they're an improviser, they'll move around in the pocket and they'll throw it short. And if they're a scrambler, they'll scrambler. The problem is what do you call Josh Allen is the strongest arm in the league? He's a strong arm. Patrick Mahomes, these guys, but they all scramble, And the other problem is Lamar Jackson is a scrambler, but he's given an improviser archetype in Madden, so these guys just don't take off and scramble, man. Let's just put it that way. I've talked to Smitty, I've talked to Hollywood, like they brought it up. These guys are not scrambling. They are rolling out of the pocket and they're either chucking it out of bounds, throwing it short, or they're doing this awful crossbody throw that you've all seen before. And so CPU scrambling it is just not there right now. They definitely need to tune it, or else I'll be dropping another "this is how you fix the game" video like I do every year. I don't want to have to make it this year. The other thing is I would like to see the CPU quarterback throw it a little bit, not necessarily deep shots like 40, 50 yards downfield, but more medium throws. Like right now it just seems a lot of what they throw are just 15 and under. They don't take a lot of shots that are in that 20 to 30 yard downfield range, which, I mean, I know it's not a huge proportion of pass plays, but I feel like they could definitely be taken more. But the CPU quarterback play, and then on top of that, we still have the same, they walked the line of scrimmage and they instantly snapped the football. They do not get up there, they don't scan the defense, they don't ID the mic, They don't make line blocking adjustments. They don't do hot routes. They don't audible. All the things that we do as a user or quarterbacks do in real life when they get to the line of scrimmage, quarterbacks don't do. They literally take the play that's called, they walk up there and they hike it. They don't care what the hell defense you're in. They don't care what coverage you're in. They don't care what you're doing. They don't care if they could audible to a better play. They don't even pay attention. And the other thing, the time of possession battle becomes a user-dominated stat every game because of it. Because they're just instantly walking up to the line of scrimmage, snapping the ball. Where we're up there, we're scanning the defense. We're trying to figure out what they're in. We might put a guy in motion. Whatever. We're running that play clock down to 3 or 4 seconds left, and that eats up time of possession, which is a very important stat. Teams always want to win that because the longer your defense is on the field, the more tired they get and the more they wear down, and then you should get bigger plays. So I'd like them to tune how quickly the CPU quarterbacks snap the football. Even if you can't put in there that they're going to ID the mic and do all this, just let them go up there and fake snipe the damn ball. Fake snap it. Like, try to draw us off sides. Something, and rant, but it's just frustrating because I played quarterback in high school and, I just love the position, and it's just so poorly represented in the current state. Penalties. Y'all know me in penalties. I've seen some. Again, at default 50, it says it's supposed to be called at the same rate as real NFL data, which is definitely not happening because we all know how many penalties are averaged in an NFL game, and you can turn on 15 minutes, no Excel clock, and you wouldn't even come close. Penalties are the only penalty that's really being called consistently is roughing the passer. I've seen a couple holdings, haven't seen a single DPI, haven't seen a single clipping, haven't seen a single offsides. I did see one false start. Just so many penalties that are called every Sunday not being called. I didn't mess with the sliders because it's play now mode, and we all know play now is different than franchise. But as of right now, penalties have not been ramped up as far as their frequency, which sucks because they are not called at the NFL rate at their setting of 50. They just aren't. Couple other things. On some passing plays, there's I don't know if it's a stuck in the mud animation or what it is, but what happens is, and this is, you will see it on crossers or any type of route where the guy is coming across the field. You lead him, and what happens is the pass will actually end up, you didn't lead him enough. And at his current speed, full speed, he's running, and the ball's coming here, and he should go through, and so the pass is going to be behind him. But what the receiver will do on a dead-ass sprint is he'll plant a foot, put his hands out, and just freeze frame it, and he'll catch the ball, and then he'll take off running again. You can't physically do that. Like, you cannot just be sprinting full speed, instantly stop without moving, catch it, and go. And so it's basically this animation pops up that prevents you from having a pass be behind a wide receiver, which happens all the time. Like, quarterbacks throw passes behind wide receivers all the time, but the game doesn't want to let that happen. It wants the receiver to try to go for it and make the play, and so you get this weird, ugly looking, just stuck in mud jitter play where he catches it and then all of a sudden he takes off and goes. It looks really bad, especially when you break it down in instant replay. I hope it's a bug or a glitch, and I hope they fix it, because you know what? If I throw the ball and it's behind the wide receiver, let it be behind the wide receiver. I already talked about this, but pass coverage in all Madden is just, it's like mirror DBs, like psychic DBs. I don't need to break it down anymore. We talked about it. Too many INTs. Now, what I love the pass coverage. I don't want that changed. What I would like to see would be more swats or batted balls, because right now you're getting like 6 interceptions a game combined, because every DB, like, you don't see dropped interceptions. You just don't. You'll see some dropped catches by wide receivers. I haven't seen a dropped interception. And so these DBs are catching the ball at way too high of a rate. And I'd like to see just more straight up SWAT, blocking down, batted ball, dropped interceptions, right? We don't need to have every DB out here like they're Randy Moss. Another one is offensive line awareness. And this is not, it's inconsistent, but there are some times, man, where the offensive lineman has a guy right in front of him and just totally ignores him and goes and blocks somebody else who's completely irrelevant to the play. And we know this has been happening for years. It's not consistent, which is good, but it seems to creep or rear its ugly head at the most inopportune times as a user, where you're like, okay, I got a defender lined up right over my guard. That's perfect. He's blocked. But then the guard decides to go and block a corner who's coming on a blitz instead of blocking the guy right over the top of him, and lets him have a free run, and you're sacked in 2 seconds. You're just instantly done. You had to go in instant replay to see what happened, because you're like, what the hell? Again, it's not an all the time thing, but it happens enough where, like, the offensive awareness of who they should be blocking, I feel like should just be tweaked a little bit. Last but not least is weather. Weather doesn't really seem to play a part again. Another year of weather just meaning nothing. We still don't get we still don't get snow replicated correctly in the game. We got little tiny flakes coming down, and little perfect piles of snow. It doesn't accumulate. The lines are always cleared out. Like, that's not how snow games are. Go watch any of the last 10 snow games that have been on TV. It's not how it happens. Like, give us some real weather. Give us fog. Give us heavy snow that impacts the passing game, the visibility, so you have to run it. Give us windy games that you can see the ball move in the air when you're throwing it, and so your game plan gets changed because of it. Give us rainy downpours where the ball is so slippery that people are fumbling and dropping open passes, and it's slipping out of quarterbacks' hands. Like, give us weather elements and make them matter, right? I mean, people love people love firing up snow games in Madden. They always have. We're not getting an accurate representation of what snow games look like in Madden for like the 5th year in a row now. It's really disappointing. I wish they'd bring back the actual absolute heavy snow and fog with tough visibility. But, you know, that's it, guys. Otherwise, this is, in my opinion, the best playing Madden since, you know, I'll give you 2 options here. Madden 05 on PS2 or Xbox 360, or I guess Xbox, right? Or Madden 10, the Ian Cummings game, right? Madden 10 was a really good Madden. This is the best playing one right now. That's, again, they're still got some things they're going to tweak, and they've talked about it. But as long as they don't break all these things because of community feedback from the head-to-head online guys, this is going to be the best playing Madden in the last 13 years. So that's where I'm at. I'm having a lot of fun with it, despite what, you know, I just said as far as the not so good. And I'm really excited to play more when the franchise updates hits. I'm going on vacation this week, and I'm going to take my PlayStation with me just so I can play it, because EA wanted to wait so dang long to drop the update. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry it's long, but I want to be very, very in-depth for you guys, to kind of make sure I covered everything. I didn't want to be vague. Hope you enjoyed the video. That's it from me. Till next time. Peace.